Hello, it's Carol Baker here from Classroom Wellbeing. Today we're going to look at some more yoga that you can do in a chair. We may have the desk in front of us, so just watch out so we're coming forward. I don't want you to hit your head. But we're going to look at the hips and the lower back. Now the hips and the lower back get really tight because we do way too much sitting. On average we sit about 14.5 hours a day. So if you can, you want to get up every 20 minutes and have a stretch and a little walk around and then sit back down again, or at least do some stretches in your chair to help alleviate the stiffness in your back and in your hips. So hips are a ball and socket joint. Think about the same thing we did with the shoulders, how we circled the arms. You want to circle the legs within the hips, and you want to do that in both directions. Okay, my chair's moving because it's on a thing, so don't worry if you're able to do that better than me. Okay, so what you need to do is think about the muscles around the back of the hips. They get really tight when we're sitting. So this is a good stretch for the piriformis muscle. So you're going to bring your left foot up onto your right thigh, just slightly above the knee. You want the shin on the thigh. And the first thing you can do is just circle your ankle, because the ankles get quite stiff as well. That foot will be flexed. You may have shoes on, which is fine. Your hands are going to go onto the top of this left knee, and you're going to sit up nice and tall. The idea is this left knee is going to come down level with the ankle. So I start to lean forward and put a little bit of weight through my hands. And gradually I'm going to feel a stretch on my left hip, and that knee is going to come down a bit lower. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to move my head forward. I'm going to start to let my hands hang in front of me. And if I start to drop my head completely, the weight of my head will mean I start to go nearer the floor. Now my bottom needs to stick to the chair and my right foot needs to stick to the floor. But if I keep breathing, nice relaxed slow breathing, I'll start to get nearer and nearer the floor. You may or may not get to the floor. You will eventually after you practice it a few times, but you want a good 5 or 10 breaths in this one. You should feel a big stretch in your left hip. Use your out breath to try and release a little bit more, don't force it. Come up slowly, like anything you need to come up to allow the blood to come from your brain back down to the rest of your body. And then you're going to swap legs. So a bit like we did the shoulder stretch, you might find it's more challenging on one side than the other. So I've got my right leg up this time, my shin on my leg, my foot nice and free so I can circle the ankle again. I'm going to flex the foot, my hands on top of the thigh. At the moment I've got a slope there, and I'm just gradually pressing my knee to come down and leaning forward a little bit. Again, I want to stick my bottom to the chair, I want to stick my left foot to the floor, shoulders are relaxed, I'm taking some nice deep breaths, and when I get to the stage where I can let the hands come forward, I can let the head completely hang, and I might just be dangling here for 5 to 10 breaths, but I can guarantee at the end of those 5 to 10 breaths, you will have got a little nearer to the floor, and eventually you will get to the floor. So I still feel it's a little stiffer for me on this side than the other, but then I'm old and I carry stuff on my right hip too much. So after my 5 to 10 breaths, I'm going to come up nice and slowly. So the other benefit of coming forward, apart from blood to the brain and this way stretching the hips, is to work the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump, and all day long the lymph is going down to our feet. So if we sit a lot of the day, the lymph is in our feet and it's also here. Now there are lymph glands here, but there are also lymph glands here. And in the winter, this is where the lymph needs to be, to go through the lymph glands to carry any viruses and bacteria away. So if we do a simple forward bend, we've got the feet stuck to the floor, the bottom stuck to the chair, and then we just start to hang. So we let the head come down below the heart. So not only will this give you a bit of a brain boost in the afternoon if you're feeling a bit tired, but it will also start to move the lymph into the body, more into the head and shoulders. If you can do this and lie down, or sit down even better, or if you can lie on the floor and bring your legs up the wall and lift your bottom above your head, even better, but you'd need to be doing that in PE rather than in the classroom. But even just up and down and holding that for a few breaths is going to give me the chance to move the lymph around and to move the blood around the body.